We are celebrating the 15th anniversary of the MIoD, and what better way to celebrate this milestone by hearing from our founding members and some key partners in telling the very story of the MIoD.
If you look at Mauritius, till the 1990s, we were very insular in terms of our corporate structures. Corporates registered here had shareholders from elsewhere in the world. And if we go to the beginning of this century, the 21st century, when Sushil Kushiram was the Minister of Financial Affairs, Financial Services, he realized that if we were really going to build Mauritius as a destination for respectable investments into India mainly, there had to be good governance.
The fact that public funds were being used in order to finance businesses meant that there was higher accountability and transparency that was required.
At the time, we needed to be at the forefront of this initiative to be able to show that our companies in the country were at the level of more developed economies worldwide.
And I remember at that time we had recourse to Mr. Mervyn King from South Africa, who was given the task to come up with the code of corporate governance.
The local framework of governance had to step up and make sure that the offering of choice of directors, the quality of people would be really up to international standard.
It's commonly known as Teams Code. And that was the first code of corporate governance that corporate Mauritius had to embrace.
It was around the same time that the Stock Exchange of Mauritius came into existence.
The World Bank and the IFC had come to Mauritius, had, with Dr. Chris Pierce, also trained a group of people by Anne Molyneux as well.
And Mauritius is known to be a reliable and trustworthy financial center. This is confirmed in the MOIBRIM index.
The reason behind why the MOBA actually had to give way to the setup of the Financial Services Commission basically converged towards the need to have institutions now leading the way.
I really believe in the need to get the word on governance out, and I think that needs to come primarily from locally based, regionally based institutions.
For corporate governance, the Financial Reporting Act actually established the National Committee on Corporate Governance, and the NCCG therefore took over the work which was being done by the Committee on Corporate Governance, which was then chaired by Tim Taylor. And one of the functions of the NCCG, as per that act, is for the NCCG to set up the Mauritius Institute of Directors.
So we decided it would be good to have an organization that did not actually depend on government, that was financed other than by government, and that's why the MIoD was set up.
I was taken on board as a consultant in order to try and see if a professional body can be set up.
The report that he produced was of high quality. We've got to really take our hats off to him for producing that report, because that was at the base of the Institute.
It was being felt to my mind that there was a need for all these businesses, all these enterprises to be properly governed.
When the World Bank came in those initial days, they had set out very clearly, a sort of charter, if you like, for the Mauritius Institute of Directors. And Pierre and Anne Molyneux and Tim and the NCCG, when they were setting MIoD up, gave us a clear objectives.
Now, we realized that we could not raise enough money through the membership, and therefore the patrons and the sponsors were very important.
And I remember going to meeting a number of directors of the companies at the time, and putting the idea to them, gathering their responses.
Mostly the conglomerates in Mauritius would be approached to be founder members.
Well, I'm proud that we've contributed to the creation of MIoD and have continued throughout the years to be supporting it, because I think it's an excellent vehicle to transmit corporate governance, not only in the private sector, but also in the public sector.
It was indeed important at the time of the creation of the Mauritius Institute of Directors, sometime around 2007, 2008, for the MCB to be in the forefront and contribute to position corporate Mauritius as a reputable and reliable jurisdiction.
Pierre became the chairman.
My first role was more or less to be vice chairman of MIoD.
And then we had to go out and recruit a CEO.
I was probably one of the first few directors of the MIoD, and I really helped to shape up the MIoD and to incorporate the MIoD.
As far as I remember, there were about 10 board members. In fact, we were members before the MIoD was incorporated.
So for the first initial years, the company secretariat function was therefore outsourced to the Rogers company secretariat team.
And I think it started rather slowly, and initially it was not evident that it was actually going to work.
The challenges were around financing, because initially the Institute had been going for 2 years already, hadn't done an awful lot.
Then Pat, he resigned, and in fact, Jane, who we used to work together in Rogers, I saw her one day and I said to her, Jane, I don't know if you've seen this, there's an ad for a job.
I was running my own business at the time, and I was a very happy bunny doing that. And I said to Tim, no, I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
And I said, look, you've got to apply by tomorrow.
Tim is somebody that you don't easily refuse. He doesn't take no for an answer.
So she applied, and she got it, and frankly, she was fantastic.
When we talk about the first code, Tim's code, and then we talk about Jane Valls, and we talk about me and Sheila, they all come from Rogers Group. And that helped because there was a way of working, of doing business.
So I think it was important for us to go into action as soon as we could, so that they would start to see us as a credible actor.
MIoD, at the time in its early years, indeed needed the support and the firepower of its solid and long-standing founding members.
Re-establishing, I think, the relationships was really important with everybody.
What we wanted to achieve is for the MIoD to be the voice for directors in Mauritius.
This was very well received by the business community.
The solution that we found with the Directors Forum was to produce guidance document. We went on to create the Audit Committee Forum with the help of KPMG, and that was about helping audit committee chairs be better audit committee chairs and better audit committees.
Well, we need boards that are very effective and that understand also the environment in which the company operates, not only at operational levels, but also at governance level.
I think when you look at how Mauritius has moved over the years, we still obviously got a long way to go. Our financial sector does well, so I think we can say that the corporate governance was very necessary for the development of the financial sector.
The other one was getting more women on board.
We noticed from the very start that our membership database was quite unbalanced in terms of male and female representation.
We had one of the lowest records in Africa and probably in the world at that time, so we needed to do something about it. So how do you go about it? We set up a Women Directors Forum to try and get women together and men to support.
When I joined the Institute in 2015, there were discussions ongoing with regards to a review of the first Code of Corporate Governance for Mauritius, which came out in 2004.
I took over as chair at the transition between the first code and the new one.
It came with a set of 8 principles only, with an apply and explain methodology. And businesses in Mauritius were expected to explain in their annual report and website how they had applied that principle.
this 2.0 version was deeply needed at that time because the corporate world had changed.
I think this principle of apply and explain has enabled our corporates to engage in a lot more meaningful manner how we are approaching these different principles.
I would say the MIoD, since the time it was set up, has played this very crucial role of ensuring that the actual ethics and principles are passed on, are driven down to the directors.
It has turned directorships into a profession.
And that trust has evolved towards responsibility, towards the environment, towards the society, and therefore our reporting and the way corporate governance has evolved needs to embrace all these aspects. And that's a big change from where it was a few years back.
And as we go forward, we want more Mauritian businesses. We want specialized companies, and it would be very nice if we could get the government on board.
I fully agree with you that it has to apply to everyone. And that is why there's a number of initiatives that have been taken at the level of state-owned enterprises as well to put in place the right framework in their organizations to adhere to those principles.
Our governance in Mauritius is of international standard. We are now at par with the best governance that we can find in Europe. So I think we've achieved this evolution from family governance type of company to a more international types of governance.
MIoD has done a terrific job, and it has helped and is helping significantly in shaping and promoting the brand image of corporate Mauritius, both on the local and the international scene.
The lady who sits there now, Sheila, I think she's very dedicated. She wants to make it work, and I would have thought the MIoD is now on and up. That's how I see it.
I would say that we've had the support of those who mattered. We have had the support both from the public, the private sector. We've had the support of our members, our founders, our patrons. Last but not least, having a strong leader to drive the initiatives of the Institute is what makes it what it is today.
Real congratulations, because it's not a small achievement, and it's tough to get off the ground. It's tough to sustain, and I think that where the Institute is today is a real reflection on the Institute's quality and the people in it.
And it's nice to see that 15 years after MIoD is going strong, and I wish MIoD another 15 years of at least of success.
Together we are stronger, and having a platform within MIoD in which we can share these best practices that everyone is putting into place, but also looking at what's happening internationally.
My wish for the MIoD that it continues to develop, it continues to support corporate governance in Mauritius, it continues to train directors.
So that it's able to reach greater heights in the corporate governance ecosystem.
And they can rest assured that they'll have the support of my ministry.
Best wishes for une bonne continuation.
And I wish you at least another 15 years of success.
Long live MIoD!